gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah. Push and pull and...
The standout feature of the Redmi Turbo Max is just how much performance it squeezes out of the Dimensity 9500S. Today, we're putting that to the test through a series of benchmarks and real-world scenarios. Some of the most unexpected and interesting results showed up during the StarTrain and Midwave D game tests, which we'll dive into a bit later. A quick shout out to my tech partner from China for sharing this video. A big thank you for making this possible. Hey everyone, it's Maiky from techmaiky. If you love staying updated with the latest gadgets, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our exciting tech content. Before that, let's quickly talk about the phone's design. The Turbo Max comes with an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, a metal frame, a massive battery, and a large display accented by three-sided LED lighting. Around the back, Redmi has toned things down by removing overly complex layers and flashy decorations, shifting the design language toward a cleaner, more refined look. This change noticeably improves the overall sense of quality. So does that mean it's less gamer-focused? Not really. If you look closely, the camera deco still features two colored light rings as subtle accents. In the settings, you can assign different lighting effects for scenarios like gaming, charging, notifications, and music. When the lights are off, they blend neatly into the deco area, striking a nice balance between personality and minimalism. Another major highlight is the display. The Turbo 5 Max is equipped with a 6.83-inch 120Hz 1280p panel using M10 luminous material, and based on the spectral data, our unit appears to be supplied by Huaxing. Eye comfort, which is especially important for gamers, is handled well here. Above 70 nits, roughly 45% brightness, the screen runs in a DC-like mode. Below that level, it switches to 38840Hz PWM dimming. In our measurements, the lowest full white brightness reached 2.0 nits, which is fairly reasonable, and at that point the SVM value was just 0.23, well below any risk threshold. That said, the default full screen brightness still sits at the standard 600 nits. With full screen brightness boost enabled, it climbs to 1065 nits. Once you go below a 25% window, the advertised peak brightness finally kicks in, and our actual measured maximum hit 3350 nits. Color accuracy is handled by Xiaomi's own CMF tuning, which, compared to the standard CIE 2015 curve, leans slightly toward a cooler, bluish tone. Battery life is another area where the Turbo 5 Max really raises the bar. It packs Xiaomi's largest smartphone battery to date at a huge 9,000 milliamp hours. On the charging side, it supports 100-watt wired charging, 27-watt wireless charging, and, importantly, the 100-watt PPS universal protocol, which is a very welcome upgrade. Using the official charger, it took 71 minutes to go from 1% to a full charge. Charging power peaked at around 80 watts in the first minute, quickly restoring about 5% battery right away. And even with numbers like these, the battery still doesn't feel like it's being pushed to its absolute limit. Now let's get to the core selling point of this phone: performance. The hardware combo includes the Dimensity 9500S, 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5X RAM, and up to 512 gigabytes of UFS 4.1 storage. This time, the real focus is on the newly released Dimensity 9500S chip itself. As usual, we'll start with the specs. The CPU sticks with MediaTek's classic flagship 1+3+4 all-big core layout, using familiar cores across the board. Crucially, there's no downclocking here, and cache sizes remain firmly in flagship territory. In fact, the prime core frequency is even slightly higher, pushing past 3.9 gigahertz. On the GPU side, MediaTek didn't back either, pairing it with a full-frequency 12-core G925, which is a true flagship-level configuration. So how does that translate into theoretical performance? Looking at Geekbench 6 single-core scores, the 9500S hit 852 points, right in line with top-tier flagships, and even edging past the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 with SME2 instruction enhancements. Compared to earlier mid to high-end chips that lack a dedicated supercore, the 9500S pulls clearly ahead. In multi-core workloads like typing, image processing, and music playback, it scored 839 points, just under the 9,000 mark. That slight gap could be related to memory frequency or power limits. As for GPU performance, given the scale we mentioned earlier, the results are pretty much what you'd expect: flagship-level performance with similarly strong energy efficiency. Interestingly, in our W1 efficiency tests, the 9500S scored noticeably higher than expected, and we confirmed this result through multiple runs. Compared to mid-range processors, it clearly dominates in both raw performance and power efficiency, and the larger GPU configuration really flexes its muscles here. With the theoretical numbers covered, it's time to move on to real gaming tests. So how does the Turbo Max actually perform in games? Before jumping into the results, let me briefly explain our testing approach. There's a newly released and very popular title called Dark Knight's Midrange. On the surface, it looks like a medium to high load action game, but in reality, it's a mix of many different gameplay styles. You'll find mechanics inspired by a wide range of popular genres and classic games all rolled into one. That variety makes it fun to play, but it also introduces some unique challenges when it comes to performance testing. The question everyone always asks is simple. What should we test to truly reflect real in-game conditions? After a lot of consideration, we narrowed it down to 3 key scenarios. First is the main city, which players visit constantly in the early stages. Second is the wilderness area, which you have to explore to progress through story missions. And third is the zipline section, a core mechanic for late-game map exploration and something you'll use non-stop in mid-range. We looped these 3 scenes continuously for 20 minutes, and that became the first version of our mid-range performance test. With that setup in place, let's see how these 3 phones stack up. Since mid-range has just launched, manufacturers haven't added it to their game centers yet, meaning there's basically no special optimization in place. That actually makes the results more representative of real gameplay. Out of the 3 devices, only the Turbo 5 Max held a full frame rate from start to finish. The 8 Elite dropped to a 45 FPS lock during the final 2 minutes, while the 8 Gen 5 never went beyond 60 FPS at all. Moving on, if we focus purely on full frame performance, the Turbo 5 Max isn't just more power efficient than the 8 Elite. It also delivers higher low frame rates and noticeably less stutter. These benchmark results line up very closely with what you actually feel when playing on these 3 platforms. Next up is Genshin Impact, a game that manufacturers have optimized to an extreme level. As expected, all platforms had no trouble maintaining a full frame rate here. That means the real point of comparison becomes energy efficiency. The Turbo 5 Max was the only one to break into the 30,000 watt efficiency tier. Not only is its power efficiency outstanding, but it also posts the highest low frame rates and the least stuttering. Simply put, the Turbo 5 Max comes out on top in both performance and efficiency. Interestingly, the 2024 flagship platform was beaten by the smaller 8 Gen 5 here, suggesting that Genshin Impact alone isn't demanding enough to fully push today's flagships in real-world use. So let's crank things up with the more demanding Absolute Zero. This time, the smaller 8 Gen 5 started to drop frames, leaving only the 2 flagship platforms capable of sustaining full frame rate. Even then, there were clear differences. The Turbo 5 Max maintained near-perfect low frame rates while using 11% less power than the 8 Elite, resulting in smoother gameplay and better overall efficiency. To push things further, we increased the load by running the New Year map. Would the Turbo 5 Max extend its lead even more? The answer was pretty interesting. It remained the most power-efficient option, achieving full frame rate at just 6.5 watts, while the 8 Elite needed 7.16 watts. Under this heavier load, the 8 Elite eventually gave in and started dropping frames after 12 minutes. What really surprised me was the performance of the 8 Gen 5. After struggling earlier, you'd expect it to fall even further behind when faced with the new Iron system's increased demands. Instead, it managed to hold a full frame rate throughout, with power consumptions similar to the 8 Elite, and even outperformed it, despite having roughly half the GPU size. When we compared visuals though, 8 Gen 5's image looked slightly blurry, possibly due to some kind of enhancement trick. The Turbo 5 Max produced a sharper image, and after switching to OpenGL, its visuals matched those of the 8 Elite. Redmi told us that the current version of the new Iron system introduces some sharpening artifacts, and that this feature will be refined in the official release, along with potential power optimizations. Back to performance testing, the 8 Elite had already failed under the pressure of the new Iron system, but the Turbo 5 Max still had room to go harder. The resolution we'd been testing at was 768p, which was the default maximum resolution of the Iron game from 2 years ago. Last year, the developers introduced an even higher 997p option. This resolution is so demanding that most phones struggle just to run it, let alone maintain a stable frame rate. At the moment, only current generation flagship platforms and a handful of trailblazing devices have enabled 997p, and the Turbo 5 Max is one of them. At first, I honestly wasn't sure it could handle it, but after running the game at the highest resolution for 20 minutes, it surprisingly maintained a full frame rate the entire time. That said, power consumption did climb, peaking at 8.3 watts. In Mocha mode, the Turbo 5 Max automatically turns on super resolution when you enable the highest resolution. Since the base image is already upscaled, it's difficult to measure the exact output resolution. Switching the game to OpenGL allows it to render at native 9997p, but because OpenGL is less efficient than Vocal, sustaining 60 FPS in this mode is tough for Redmi phones right now. That result was within our expectations, and hopefully it'll be improved by the time the device officially launches. Ideally, Redmi could add a super resolution and frame interpolation toggle to vocal mode to fully unlock performance. To wrap things up, the defining strength of the Turbo 5 Max is its performance. Powered by the Dimensity 9500S, its theoretical capability goes head-to-head with the Snapdragon 8 Elite and clearly surpasses the 8 Gen 5. With Redmi's gaming optimizations, it can even outperform the 8 Elite in real gameplay. The rest of the hardware package is equally impressive. While other mid-range phones are simply racing toward bigger batteries, Redmi has delivered a more well-rounded and distinctive solution. That's it for today's video. If you want more people to know about the Turbo 5 Max, don't forget to like, comment, share, or send this to friends who might be interested. I'll see you in the next one.